everyone, I am here with Lin Rhea, who is a master blacksmith. He specializes in historic blacksmithing, and one of my favorite things to do is come and visit him and learn from him. He's incredible at what he does. He makes knives, scissors, pliers, you name it. So today, he's going to take me through the process, give me a little bit of a history lesson, show me some of his incredible work, and this is a chance for you all to ask questions as well. So feel free to chime in as we work together, and we'll try to answer your questions or try to get him to answer your questions as best we can. So Lin, thank you so much for doing this with me. I love seeing your work, and I thought maybe you could start by showing some of these people here, some of these incredible things that you've made, and also some of these older tools as well. For example, these scissors, as you know, are some of my favorites. Tell us a little bit about, some of the products here that you've got.
Okay. Now, these scissors date to about 1790. We've got images, and we've got some examples of them that date back to the periods. And so to make these scissors, we have to make two pieces that are a pair. And so this is half of the set, and it's forged. It has a steel edge on this side, and they made up, and so that the cutting edge faces and bypasses one another, and they work together. So
I just can't believe how well they fit together. It's just incredible. I mean, they have a real blade here.
yes, you have to match up the different sides. So you may make 8 or 10 halves and then match them up, and then you have to just finish them out. They'll work. It takes a lot of adjusting to make them cut properly. They will.
Now what about these guys? These are some beautiful pliers. Look how they fit together like that.
Yeah, that's a box joint is what that is. And in other words, this piece goes inside the other, and it fits like that with a, there is a pin, you can't hardly see it, but the pin makes it work smoother, but you have to fit it together, bring that open, drop this one inside the other, close it back down, and make them work together.
And you're saying that you actually have to heat it and bang it together to get it to be really snug, is that right?
That's right.
That's so interesting.
The principle behind it that the blacksmith used to keep one cooler than the other. The cooler one is stiffer and harder, the hotter one is soft, and it will form fit to the first one.
That's so interesting to get your impression. Okay, now I have seen your incredible knives. This is sort of what you're known for, and I'd love for you to tell us about this one and some others. Maybe I'll let you open it up.
Well, I'm a bladesmith as well, and I'll take this out. And this one is made totally in a historic way. I wanted to use the ways of the blacksmith. In other words, there's some artifacts of forging that are remaining on the blade that I left on there. It has a steel cutting edge and an iron body. So I split and inserted the steel inside of the iron parent bar and welded it, and then forged the blade, and then went on to forge the guard, the spacer, and the butt cap. And actually I used an old railroad spike to make these other parts.
You're kidding.
So I took the railroad spike and pieced off a little bit to make this, and then did that, and then
That's upcycling at its finest, I would say.
Yeah.
Now what about some of these other beautiful tools? These look a little bit more rudimentary, maybe more historic, perhaps is the right word.
Yeah, some of the simpler things to make
Got
are
a nail here.
nails. They are pretty easy in some sense to make, in that there's not much material involved, but it takes some practice to do it.
Didn't you tell me once that this is how they would, I guess, is this building they made with these to make it authentic, or you were telling me a little bit of a history lesson about these these nails.
Now, nowadays, if we have any work to be done on the fences and the buildings that are historic, we do have to make the nails for that, yes. There's spikes and nails and staples and hinges, hasps and keepers and things like that have to be made, so making them where they are historic, that's part of the job.
So historically, if they wanted to build something, they would have to hand forge every single nail.
That's right.
That's wild. It's amazing. This axe is awesome. Did you make this?
Yes, I did.
I love how you have that combination of elements where it's very raw here and rough, and then you have a really sharp finished blade? I really like that look.
Now this one is, I've still got a little bit of cleanup here and some sharpening to do. Basically, this one is freshly forged and tempered, so it's ready for a handle and to be sharpened.
And then what period would you say that you typically focus on when you're making historic items?
Here in the Historic Blacksmith Shop, we try to represent in the sense that we make objects from about 1800 to the Civil War.
Okay.
So antebellum, that time period, and now some of these techniques go back many, many years previous to that. You might think about it like this: if you were left the anvil by your father or your grandfather, that anvil is going to be much older than you are, and it predates you by a lot. So some of the objects you have to work with are going to be quite old, much older than you are. This one is 200 years old.
Really?
Yes.
Are some of these items here old as well?
No, most of these are,
They just
we
look
made them
old.
here in the shop. You know,
Some of these look pretty old though.
yes, that's a header for making spikes. So if we were going to put say a railing on the fence, on a post, nail the cross rails, we might make spikes using that.
This is neat here. It looks like you put it over a campfire and use it to cook maybe, or?
Yeah, you may have your rabbit on this side cooking over the fire, and your coffee is just remaining hot. And depending upon how big your meat is over there is where this would locate.
Oh, yeah.
So that it would stay balanced
Oh,
on
how
this
clever.
one steak.
So these little prongs here would go right into your meat, and the weight of your meat would counterbalance
That's
whatever
right.
you had hanging here. I love that. That's so nifty. Who would think it's so simple? We get all advanced with our technology, but at the end of the day, it's just really simple mechanics. It's so beautiful.
Simplicity and practicality was the guide for not only the blacksmith, but for everyday life.
Yeah.
Back in those days.
Yeah.
Of course.
Before all of our technology and our information highway.
That's right.
Well, do you think you could teach me a total newbie, something small and simple?
Well, let's see what we can do. I'm thinking maybe a striker or a steel
Okay.
for starting a fire.
I love it.
How about that?
Perfect.
So one thing we have to have is high carbon steel. I just happen to have a piece in the fire.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Show me how it goes.
Okay, here at the forge, we've got a coal fire, and we've got a piece of high carbon steel. Now this is a repurposed, recycled, you might recognize the shape. It is a hay rake.
Oh, interesting.
So this was mounted rigidly on the machine, and this was a spring. And so
Okay.
we're just gonna use this piece,
You're just repurposing it and making something new.
we're just gonna clip off a little bit off the end. Now, I've already got it cut, but let's just take the tongs and break off 2 pieces.
Okay.
I'll take one, I'm gonna set this
See what you
piece
find in those holes.
aside. Yeah, I'll set this over here where it'll be safe. Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of tricky to find, but I see it down there.
And then tell me a little bit about these poles and this pillow here. What's this mechanism? It's all through air, is that right? Or there's
Yes.
nothing mechanical about it, right?
Well, the only thing mechanical is the leverage that the arm imparts upon the bellows.
Okay.
And I'm operating the bottom part of the bellows, and I'm inflating the top chamber in the bellows.
Interesting. So every time you pull this handle here, you're
Yeah.
fanning more and more air into the system.
That's right, and it goes through a pipe and comes out into the fire. Okay, let me reach down in here and get this. I'm gonna go to the anvil now.
All right.
Got a hot piece.
What do you need prepared? Should I watch you first?
Oh,
And I'll
yeah,
go
I
second?
think so. I'm just gonna form this into a rectangle.
Okay.
It was round. We're gonna make it into a rectangle. we'll do that first. Now, we're gonna turn that around and complete it, and we'll have a rectangle made.
So that's the shape we're going for here, right? A short rectangle.
About that long,
Okay. And it's,
about this thick and that wide.
okay. Helps to know what you're trying to get to, your end point.
So we will change tongs. So now that I've changed the shape of the piece, I'm gonna grab it on the rectangular side
Okay.
with a rectangular set of jaws.
Got it. So you're literally changing your tongs and their shape depending on the size
From
of the
round
object.
to rectangle.
Interesting. Okay.
Round to rectangle. So we'll use these two.
How hot would you say it's getting right now?
We
get
want
that
this, that red down in there that you see is probably 2,500 degrees
Wow.
Fahrenheit.
Wow.
And as long as we don't pump air, it won't burn, it won't run the steel. But if we just have to, if we start pumping air, we gotta stay on top of it. We gotta watch it close because we can't run it. All right. We're gonna come back.
That's hot.
And we alternate these 90 degrees. The hammer hand is working, of course, almost independently of the other hand. The other hand is sort of steering things and deciding what's going on. So we're ready. So I want you,
My turn?
let's set that aside. Yours is right here. So we want to
Alright, I'm gonna start with the round tongs, is that right? Or just
Correct.
square? Okay.
make, one thing we want to do is be safe. Pull that off.
And what's in that water? Is it just water?
Just water.
Okay.
So, make it easy as possible. You need to have about that much in the jaw,
So about a 1/4 inch.
half inch.
Okay.
And we'll put it in there off the handle. I'll help you keep up with the piece. I'll help you find it.
Yeah, I don't wanna get lost there. It starts to match the poles after a while. I still see it. It's pretty glass.
What we may have to do, okay, when you pump it, just pump one more time. Okay, and then wait. Okay. What we may have to do is fish it out of there with another set,
Okay.
and then
Bright and light.
it's so bright that it's hard to look at.
That is great.
It's so very hot that I'm gonna have to tell you to take
Okay.
these. And I'm gonna lay it kind of right here,
Okay.
and you grab it and go
Got
to the
it.
handle. You have to
Be
you
quick,
have to
right?
be quick, yes.
I'm not too good. I didn't have a good grip yet. This is not a good start for me.
It happens, no problem. There we go.
Alright.
Don't hit the tongs. Yeah, clear the tongs. There you go.
That's some real strength here. Some real accuracy, so you're not hitting those tongs.
We gotta get it hot again.
I feel like I'm getting one of every third hit. Drop it in?
Yeah, just, yeah. There you go. We're gonna,
It's a lot harder than you make it look.
yeah, it's, we've got to stay in front of it more or less. We've always got to keep the heat maintained in the fire. All that is doing is soaking heat in, so we've got to have the heat in order for the material, the workpiece, to soak in. We've got to have the heat there to start with. So we want that bright light
So you're looking for a brightness to give you a sign that it's hot enough.
Actually, the colors are indicator for temperature.
That's true, you're right. I forgot about that. Alright.
I'm gonna try to speed this up. Here you go.
Yeah, my neck's dirty. There you go.
Now you're gonna be working on the
Alright.
same.
Let's see here, I guess I have to get it. Stay inside. Just making it less square.
Yeah. There's communication between the right hand and the left hand. You're doing it. It's just gonna take you a little bit. You're doing good.
Am I doing it?
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let me go ahead and heat up the one that I'm working on,
Okay.
and we'll go ahead and get a striker made, and then I'll give you a finished
Yeah, really.
object to
It's
kind
good
of work
muscle
with.
building. It's your morning workout. You don't need to do anything
Sure
else.
Sure is. I'm gonna heat this other one up, and I'm gonna pinch down a little point on both ends, each end,
Okay.
and then we're gonna make curls. That's gonna be what we hold on to.
Great.
So positioning that in the fire in the hot spot, there's a little atmosphere that's down inside there.
Right
that is
spot, right?
maximum
See it.
heat,
It's like a little sun in there.
and that's what we want it to be in. In this case, we do, yeah. There we go.
Woo! It's amazing how quickly you get it to move. It seems so effortless. Just a few little taps and it's new shape.
Well, it's a matter of, a lot of it is a matter of, just practice, the timing.
Yeah. And real dexterity. I mean, grabbing the tongs, getting it to fit,
Yeah,
having your two hands coordinate.
yeah. Now, turn it around and do the same thing. So we just do the other end, it will step up the same way. And then this part here will be the striking phase. So we gotta pump the air into it and get it hot. And we'll isolate just enough for that other point.
Hey y'all, who just joined us, I'm here with Lin Rhea, who's a master blacksmith. And he's showing me how to make a steel striker, and he's making it look really easy, but it's not on its hard. But he is incredible at what he does. He makes everything from knives to scissors to pliers. So feel free to ask questions if you are curious how he does his work.
And as you see, if you strike pretty quick, it'll stay hot. The material will stay hot. I'm gonna bring this out just a little bit more. It's gonna be a really small striker. I want this to be able to fit in a small case. There's tins that you can get or repurpose, and they're made of metal, and you can pop the cap off, or it has a hinge or something. But if you can keep that and your flint and your charcloth all in one kit, you'll be able to start a fire. There you go.
Always be prepared. We have someone asking, how hot does the fire have to get to be able to do that? Did you say 2,400 degrees, 2,500?
Yeah, forging temperature is about 2,200, 2,400. Welding temperature, which we're not welding at this point, welding temperature is slightly hotter, but the fire is capable of just much hotter. We can burn it up, ruin it. We don't want to do that, of course. So we have to be in control of the heat. The
Yeah.
intensity of the heat is like cooking.
Yeah.
You can burn your food. You can slow the heat down and make it take longer, in which will cook deeper into a bigger piece. So it's kind of like that. If we got a big piece, say hammerhead, so we're forging a hammerhead.
Yeah.
We don't want to just come up to heat too fast. We want to slowly come up to heat so that the inside is as hot as the outside.
That makes sense. Got it. So I get heat. So depending on what you're making, you have to think about your heat as well.
Always,
Yeah.
always think about the heat. Okay. Now, we're going to, it's time to curl it and make it into a stripe.
Okay.
So I'm going to just bring the heat right back up into that little point, and we're going to curl it back. In this case, I can treat each end and grab it kind of in the middle and treat each end independently of the other.
Wow.
I'm gonna go in the water right here and just cool that end just ever so slightly. And I cooled it so that I wouldn't crush it whenever I hit it with a hammer. So let's
You have to
we'll
have
bring that
real
all around.
intuition at this point to really know when to cool it, when to how to mold it like that. It's
And
incredible.
also which way to make that curl.
Yeah.
Because nearly every student
Uh-huh.
will get it backwards.
Really?
Yeah, every time it's backwards. So we'll get that hot, bring it on around.
And I can't believe this is the 101 version. I mean, this is so hard just to hit it like this. And to think that you're making scissors and pliers and incredible knives. How many years have you been doing this?
16 years. Now this, like I say, will be a rather small one.
Sure. That's great. You can fit it in a pocket.
That's right, yeah. So I'm gonna turn it around if I can get this thing to cooperate. Get it hot, and we'll do the same thing to the other end.
Okay.
Of course, our goal is to be symmetrical. And sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's not. But again, if it works,
Yeah.
then it's okay.
Yeah.
It's survival.
That's right.
It's survival. Also, these intense heats that this little bitty piece of steel is undergoing, if you're not careful, you can ruin it. So we're gonna have to just kind of take it easy at this last.
You can ruin it by breaking it, by overheating it, and then kind of snapping it, or
Now just completely burning it up.
Wow, look at that. That is a beautiful thing.
So it'll just come back around. And it may or may not be exactly the same, but we are working a little fast.
You got further than I would have.
Well,
It
we
takes
have
an
to
incredible
constantly,
thread. I'm amazed.
constantly keep our tools off. There's another way of, you see how I bend it over the anvil and work
Yeah.
it with a hammer? That's my instinctive way of doing it, but modern blacksmiths, they have what they call scroll tongs, and they're like pliers with points, and they can just grab that and just roll it. It's really controllable that way. So that's another good way of doing
Yeah.
it.
The more modern method of blacksmithing, there is one.
So we'll cool that, and then I'm moving kind of quick, I know. I like to go ahead and heat that back up. I don't want to risk breaking it. High carbon, it's made to harden. So We often quench it in oil or sometimes water.
Is it quench it?
Quench it, which will harden it. But it will also air quench. So it's moving air. If it's breezy in here, we're holding against a cold anvil. Those little small, skinny areas that we got pulled out.
Yeah.
Just by the fact that we're taking the heat out of it quickly, we'll tend to quench it and make it hard. It'll break right off. Not here. All we're doing is just kind of
Cooling off that tip, so it's probably more fragile there.
exactly.
I cannot believe it, how accurate you got it in such a quick time.
It's just close. It's not anything
I know, but
that I consider.
considering how quickly we did this, that's so cool.
We can go ahead and harden the edge. We'll harden the edge. The rule of thumb, and as far as temperature is concerned, when you're going to harden something like this, cherry red. Cherry red. So we want it to be not bright orange,
Okay.
not white, but just
So
low.
slightly lower temperature than you get it
Yeah,
in here. and
so,
out.
so whenever I'm just letting the temperature even out now, it's just absorbing the heat. That's good enough.
So you're putting less oxygen in?
Less oxygen, but that's the point of it is that, I don't want to increase the grain growth and make it brittle.
Got it.
So it will naturally be more brittle, but it could break. And it's very possible it could break, anyway.
Right.
I mean, we just don't know. So let's use a pair of tongs that are like the tips of your fingers. So I'm just going to barely grab it. And we're going to go to that water.
Okay.
So when we go down to that water, we're just going to submerge only the edge and watch it cool. Now, I haven't taken the time to thermocycle this, so it's going to be
What is thermocycle?
thermocycle means to cycle it, the temperature up and down.
Does that make it stronger?
Yeah, it does. It actually does. It makes it stronger.
Wow.
I'm leaving part of that out of the water to leave it, make it softer. I don't want to harden the entire thing. I just want to harden the face of that.
That's the area where you'll strike.
Yeah.
And that's
So
really
it's
interesting.
losing all of its color. So
How interesting. So that part will forever be harder than the rest of it.
oh, yeah. Now you see that water drying?
Yeah.
So since we know water steams and evaporates somewhere around the boiling point, we know it's up over 212 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yep.
So we just kind of keep that wet.
Oh, great.
Now I can go ahead and cool it off and we'll try it. It's still a little bit warm, but when it stays wet, you know you're safe. Let's try it.
Go for it. You're on.
Ready? Now this is not necessarily a good piece of flint.
Oh, I saw a spark. Look at that.
Yeah, it's sparking.
It's happening.
And another thing, there may be a layer of decarburization that has to be worked through.
Okay.
So it'll actually
So
get
over time,
better.
it'll get easier.
Oh yeah, it'll get better as time goes by. And this piece of stone may not be the best. It's
I've
just
seen
something
sparks.
We picked it up off the ground.
There you
There
go.
you
Now
go.
it's happening.
Uh,
How cool. I love the size of this one. It's perfect for your pocket.
yeah.
Can be prepared no
yeah.
matter
I
where
think
you are.
once we break it in, it'll be just fine.
That is beautiful. Look at that.
This, you guys. I think this is a work of art. I know it's quick. And And to think this is one of the more simple things that you make. It's really cool.
Yeah, pretty quick, pretty simple. They made them by the hundreds back in the day. Of course, they used them every day, multiple times, possibly. And that's just one thing. That's just one of a million other things that could be made, the blacksmith had made for the community in town as well as out in the wilderness.
It's amazing all of the skills that have become lost, and I'm so glad that people like you are keeping them alive.
We're trying to.
Yeah.
Here at the Historic Arkansas Museum, that's one of our goals.
Yeah.
Is to educate and preserve history. In Arkansas, I'm very thankful that the Department of Arkansas Heritage is promoting and helping and backing us in that effort.
Can people take workshops from you? I know you're going to teach one soon. Do you want to learn from you and you teach workshops? Or?
Well, usually on Tuesdays, I have a group of guys come in the shop here and we talk about the old ways. We demonstrate, we have a show and tell.
Or people like me who just show up and talk about the old days with you, just wandering, they can find you.
It's always welcome.
I love it.
Always welcome.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. This
You're
has been
welcome.
such a treat. I will be back for sure. And if y'all, we're going to actually post a link here so you can find out more about Lin and all of his incredible work and his knives. And be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos like this. Leave a comment, share it with your friends so we can get the word out about people like Lin who are doing incredible work with their own two hands. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and thank you so much, Lin.
Anytime. You're welcome back.